I had someone come up to me today at work and they were like, Rachel, what does it mean when my eye keeps twitching? And I was like, what do you feel stressed? Like, usually it's a stress response that our eyes are twitching because the eyes take up they're like the highest rate of metabolism in the brain, our occipital lobe, because you're taking in a lot. It takes a lot of energy to see things out in the world. And I used to have eye twitches all the time, like eye twitches and Charlie horses, until I started finding out that this was all part of the stress response and our levels of hydration. So I was asking him, I was like, did you eat breakfast this morning? Did you have caffeine this morning? He was like, yeah, but I always have caffeine and I had a good breakfast. And I was like, well, our bodies just sometimes they are just going through a stressful time period. And this is how our bodies communicate to us that we are dehydrated or that we are in the stress response. And so we don't stay the same, like just because you've been doing the same thing for a few years, like our bodies constantly change. Like for me, this past last year at this same time, I could not even tolerate having caffeine. I couldn't tolerate being out in the sun. I was flaring up and having autoimmune stuff. And one of the things he said to me was what a lot of people have been saying to me when I've been talking with them about their symptoms, and that is, but I don't feel stressed. And I was like, I understand that, and I completely believe you. I've talked to people recently who have had stomach ulcers, acid reflux, all these symptoms and signs that the body is saying biochemically, I am stressed. And it's like we just don't really have the stillness and the intuition to understand that we are stressed, because it's kind of like we're addicted to being in this fast paced lifestyle. Like we have trouble slowing down. And actually, it was funny. The same person, about an hour after this happened, they came up to me again. They were like, Rachel, you know what I've been doing for the last hour? And I said, what? And they were like, I've just been standing around. And I said, oh, you're practicing your stillness. Me too. And they were like, that's what you got from me saying that? They were like, I'm so bored. And I was like, well, you're just practicing your stillness. Like, and they were like, you always take something positive from the situation, but it's true. Like, even like, especially at the restaurant, like I am a speed racer. If I'm not busy, I'm not making money. But I've tried to slow down, because if I am discontent, I have this sticky note on my desk that says divine discontent. If I'm discontent with my certain situation that I'm feeling right now, my energy is trying to leave my body. And what this does is that's how our stress response works. It's like, I don't want to be here. I'd rather be elsewhere. And so our cortisol testosterone balance goes out of whack, and we are sitting in this stress response. So it's helpful to develop a meditation practice, because being in the stress response, having eye twitches, Charlie horses, dehydration, in the stress response, we kick out minerals at a high, fast rates. That's why I'm always talking about animal-based proteins, getting enough magnesium, potassium, all these little minerals and nutrients, micronutrients too with the animal-based proteins. It's so important, especially if you're in a stressful period in your life. And then understanding these brainwave states, where we're in this high stress state, this high cortisol state, our respiratory rate is like this, right? It's quick, it's fast paced. And we're stuck there, and it's metabolically inefficient. So one of the ways I use to help my body meditate and slow down is I just try to take the deepest, longest inhale in. And when I'm doing this, I'm picturing like the pressure behind my eyes. I tend to hold a lot of stress behind my eyes. I'm picturing the stress and the tension behind my eyes. I'm relaxing. I'm going into my hip region, my glute region, and I'm relaxing all these muscles. But I don't feel like I'm stressed. I get it. I really do. I really do. I believe you that you don't feel like you're stressed. It reminds me of it just reminds me, it's sensitivity. It's a sensitivity. Am I sensitive enough? Am I still enough to feel what my body is actually feeling? Or am I used to being this way all the time? It's like eating a diet of really processed, high palatable, sugared foods. You're eating these foods all the time, and then you go to eat like a natural sugar, like a natural fruit, and it like doesn't even taste sweet, because I'm not as sensitive to what that tastes like, just like I'm not sensitive to what I feel when I'm stressed. But if you were to give up the highly processed sugars and you'd have a fruit, you'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so good. This is so sweet. This is like, it's hitting, it's satisfying me, you know? It's the same thing with drugs. All this is involved with the dopamine centers of the brain, our food too. Same things with drugs. Like, people get addicted to having a certain high, and then they become intolerant and sensitive, and they have to keep chasing and doing more and more and more. Same thing with alcohol too, you know? So, but when you practice being calm, when you practice getting into a meditative state, this is the Schumann resonance. This is Earth's heartbeat. This is the frequency that the Earth is constantly giving off. Like, your body's giving off a frequency. This is why we eat food. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. All these things hold a charge. If you look on the periodic table of elements, they hold a charge. This gives the body a frequency that we hold. If we flatline, we're dead. We hold no charge. Right? So just like a wall socket, you know, like, you're constantly giving energy. And when you're in that stress response, you're depleting minerals at a very high rate. This is why I became biased to a carnivore diet, is because we're not going to be playing around with our blood sugar levels. I'm investing into the highest macronutrient diet I could possibly get, getting all my fatty acids. And then I'm allowing my body to stay at this midline region for the glucose, for my insulin. And what this does is it allows me to get more in touch with my stress response. So, but when you're practicing being in a calm state, you know what it feels like when you are stressed. And a lot of us, like, we have trouble slowing down. So like I said, I take that really deep, long inhale in, where I'm just trying to inhale as high as I can go. If I could inhale for 30 seconds to an entire minute just on the inhale, all I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get out of this. I just want to, for as long as possible. And I'm feeling my heartbeat during this inhale. I'm feeling my heartbeat. I'm feeling what that feels like. And just like your reps with your would be weight training, when I get to that point where I cannot hold it anymore, I want to just gently take my time and let that out nice and slowly, because I'm gonna want to force it out, right? After I'm done with that inhale, I feel like I'm about to suffocate in my own body. I just want to let that out really quickly. But I know I'm just gently, deliberately taking my time, letting that breath out. The whole point is to slow the breathing rate down. And I'm trying to slow down my breathing rate to change my brainwave states. Because if we're in the stress response, we're stuck in this high beta wave frequency. I want to get into a different frequency. And I may not stay there for a really long time, but for this moment right now, you may have to go in 5 minutes. Like, I gotta go real soon. I gotta skedaddle. Got things to do, got people to see. But for this moment right now, I need be nowhere else. There is nowhere else. There's nothing more important than me sitting down with myself and practicing, prioritizing this stillness. This is what it's like to be calm. I will show you right here, right now. This is what it's like. We're addicted to, what do I need to do? I need to be doing something. Hustle, hustle, hustle. If I'm not doing something, I'm not being productive. That's not true. It's not true. When you slow down, you get more things done. Your memory center works better. Read Robert Sapolsky's book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. When we're stuck in this stress response, we literally shut off our memory center. Isn't that crazy? We shut off our logical thinking center. Like, this is like good example. I work in a restaurant, right? I'm a server. So when I get in the weeds, which is like you're way behind on things, in the weeds, I can't get out the weeds. Like, if I give into this stress response of, oh my God, I have to hurry, I'm never going to get caught up, blah, 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 blah. My mental metabolism is off the chart, out of this world, whacked out. I'm never going to get out the weeds. I end up like forgetting things. But no, if I pay attention, I slow down, I resist that temptation to be in the stress response, to be in a hurry, I can actually remember and consolidate my steps. And also, I can ask for help. I have enough space to say, hey, will you bring this Coke to table 23, seat 2? I have enough time to ask for help, you know? So take your time. Always, you have to show your body what it's like to be calm. Your body is like a child, right? You have to feed it and nurture it because nobody else is going to do this. I love you, but you have to go alone. You're in this by yourself. No matter how much help and support you have, no matter how high of a credibility your doctor is or whatever, you are still by yourself doing these steps. You're the only one who can sit down in meditation. And it's like, you got this. Like, if anybody, if I was able to do it, like, anybody can do it, you know? I was in an extremely high stress state last year. Again, the body changes. Today is the fall equinox. We're going into fall, we're going into winter. Our bodies change with the seasons. During winter, we actually experience higher levels of insulin resistance because insulin resistance is related to melatonin and darkness. So as the world starts to become, as we start to experience less light outside, we experience more insulin resistance. So if I'm looking at my foods now, my diet kind of has to shift and ebb and flow, right? My eating cycle, like maybe I need to eat in a smaller window of the day, right? Because when I eat with the light, I'm more insulin resistant. My body knows I'm insulin resistant, so I'm picking up sugars. I'm doing my daytime hormones. I'm breaking down tryptophan, creating serotonin, creating melatonin. You know, I've got to realize that my body, when I'm experiencing these subtle stress response systems, my body, my intuition loves me. It's saying, go plug yourself back into the natural rhythm. Go show your body into the light. Slow down. Eat some high dense mineral foods. So that was what was going on today. And, you know, I do send you all my love because I know what it's like to be in the stress response and to feel like afraid. I know what it's like to have these symptoms and be like uncertain about where your body is. And all medications come from nature. All the supplements, they come from our food. When I was experiencing like autoimmune, like every time I went in last time this year, every time I would go in the sun, I would have like red flare-ups under my eyes. Actually, the same person that asked me about the eye twitching today, last year, I was at the restaurant and I was experiencing like high level sensitivities, and I came in contact with this person who was wearing a lot of perfume, and my nervous system started shaking and my eyes started flaring up. I was like literally crying against my will, and then my red patches below my eyes, the same person said, "Are you okay? You look like you got punched in the face." And I was like, yeah, I know. Like, it was so embarrassing for me because I was like, it was just so embarrassing to be looking like I got hit in the face and I was just experiencing a stress response. And, you know, like, I'm like this person who's into health and like I'm going through all this stress and it's like, it's out of my control. And, you know, I just leaned into my meditations. I started eating so much liver. I was eating liver all day, every day. I started eating raw eggs. Like, I cut out sugar, cut out caffeine for a while, started drinking teas, sleeping a lot more, resting, not working out, just walking at minimum. And you eventually, you know, you walk out of this stress response. You walk out of this place of extreme fear, just one day at a time. Whoa, I just had this emotion come from my heart into my throat, and like I got very emotional there for a second. But like, I know where you might feel like you are, and it's just one day at a time. Like, the sun, the earth rotates for us to view the sun every single morning. So every single day you have the opportunity, you are blessed, abundantly blessed with the opportunity to continue getting into this rhythm. Like, every single day, your habits create your health. And if you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And a lot of people get it takes them to get to an extreme point where the gun is to their head, where you have all these symptoms for a chronic long period of time until you finally get a diagnosis to change what you're doing. But you don't have to wait, and you don't have to be consumed and afraid and think that medication is your only route. Again, our food is medicine. Our food feeds our immune function. You are the medicine. You are so powerful, beautiful, intelligent, and your body just wants you to believe in itself. I feel like I'm going to go cry, honestly, so I have to go. But I do wish you the best of luck. If you want to like, share, and subscribe, you're more than welcome to. But as always, I will catch you next time.